Hi, everybody. So I got married a couple of days back, and there has been a lot of drama surrounding this one speech that I made where I thanked everybody. For context, in that speech, I thanked my maid of honor, my best friend since my school days, Amy. And I called her my sister from another mother and expressed how grateful I am to have her in my life. I thanked a lot of other people as well, but the drama is about the fact that I did not include my sister in any of that. But I think I have my reasons, and I think they are valid. So I don't think I should feel sorry for any of it, even though it's my biological sister that we're talking about. Emily, my sister, was supposed to be my maid of honor. In fact, I had asked her right after my engagement, and for months she kept telling me that she was definitely going to be there for me. But in the past couple of months leading up to the wedding, she had been vaguely distant and was just acting a little weird. And she was not showing up for me the way she had promised she would. So I decided to confront her about a couple of weeks ago because with the wedding coming up, I could not afford this kind of behavior from her, given the fact that she was my maid of honor. I asked her if everything was right, and she ended up telling me that she wanted to opt out of all of this. She said she wanted to be at the wedding as just a guest and nothing more because she had a lot of work and she was getting stressed out because of all the wedding prep that she was missing out on. And she did not want to let me down. So she said that she wanted to be replaced, and she sounded very apologetic about it. I understood, so I told her that if she was feeling genuinely stressed out, it was perfectly fine for her to opt out of this. And I asked Amy instead. Obviously, it was kind of sad because even though Amy and I have been friends for a very, very long time, I'm obviously closer to my sister, and I really wanted her to be part of my wedding. We had talked about it, and we used to dream about it when we were kids, that I would be maid of honor at her wedding and she would do the same at mine. So it sucked that that was not going to happen. But I didn't let it show. I also found it kind of bizarre that she thought that the wedding was stressing her out because I thought it was going to be more fun than stressful. But I tried not to judge her for that. At least I was trying until I found out that she didn't really have a lot on her plate because of work. She was basically ditching me and our plans because our stepsister Lydia had asked her to be the maid of honor at her wedding. And she had agreed and then lied to me so she could opt out of everything and go ahead with our stepsister. What's worse is that I didn't even find out about any of this from her. I found out from my mom. Basically, my parents have been divorced for the past 12 years. And 6 years ago, my dad got remarried, and that's how Lydia became part of our family. I don't have anything against my dad or my stepmom, but I hate Lydia. She's a total attention seeker, and she doesn't like me much either. In fact, I would definitely say that I did give her a fair chance. I tried to get along with her, but she's always been very mean and disrespectful towards me. So we don't really get along. And I was very upset when she got engaged just a couple of weeks after I did, and even announced her wedding around the same time as me. Her dates were also about to clash with mine, and I'm pretty sure that she was doing all of that on purpose. But somehow, I guess my dad convinced her to postpone her wedding day to 2 weeks after mine. Anyway, I tried really hard not to be petty about any of this, but the bottom line is that she was competing with me for no reason. And she was the one being petty, and so we didn't fight or anything, but we simply haven't spoken since all of this wedding drama started. My dad and his wife are invited to the wedding, but Lydia is not. And the same goes for her as well. I'm not invited to her wedding. Even though my dad tried very hard to keep things well between the two of us, but clearly Lydia is not happy with that. Well, two can play that game, but what actually hurts is that Lydia basically poached my maid of honor, and my sister happily went along with it, simply because she was going to get paid. Yep, My mom told me all about it, even though Emily had confided in her about all of this and how stressed out she was and basically warned her to secrecy. But my mom decided to tell me about it and be honest with me because she thought that this was something I deserved to know. And I'm glad that she did so because she was right. I did deserve to know about all of this, especially because for me, family is very important, and especially my relationship with Emily has always been very special to me. So I can't even imagine that she would stab me in the back like this, even though she herself doesn't like Lydia that much. Anyway, I found out about it about a week ago, and I confronted Emily about it almost immediately because I really wanted to know her reasons for doing something like this. When I confronted her first, she tried to deny everything and said that it must have been a misunderstanding of some sort. But then, when she realized that there was no way out of it, she decided to tell me the truth. And she started crying and everything. She told me that Lydia was very upset with my decision to have my wedding around the same time as her, which is ridiculous because I was the one who made all the announcements and decisions first. I don't even know about her engagement because it happened later. So if anything, she's the one copying me. But I don't want to be petty. So I haven't even said anything about it. Anyway, Lydia was very upset about it because she hates me. She doesn't really have that bad of a relationship with Emily. She decided to approach Emily to be the maid of honor. And obviously, in the beginning, Emily declined. But then Lydia offered to pay her a pretty hefty sum because she can afford to do things like that. And I have to say, this is the most petty thing that I can imagine someone doing. But if anyone were to do it, it would definitely be because that's exactly how she is as a person. Anyway, Emily told me that Lydia basically pressured her into accepting that amount. And because both she and I earn way less than Lydia does, she accepted it, and to make it up to me, she told me that she was going to use part of it to compensate for what she did and get me a pretty nice wedding gift. Emily knows I'm really interested in art, so she was about to get me a very expensive painting, but honestly, that doesn't make up for what she did. However, I did not want any sort of drama before my wedding, so I told her that whatever was done could not be undone. I had already asked Amy to be my maid of honor, and I was not going to back down from that. Neither was I going to invite Emily to the wedding because that was going to lead to a lot of questions, and I wanted to avoid all of it. So I told her that she could be there at the wedding as a guest, but I was very disappointed in her, and that was all I had to say. After that, I left, and she has been trying to reach out to me and apologize since then, but I haven't responded. She was there at the wedding and in all the events leading up to the wedding, and I was cordial with her. I did not let it show that she and I were not getting along, but that was about it. Obviously, people did question me about why she was not my maid of honor and why she was not even a bridesmaid, and I shared the same version of the story with everyone, that she was too busy with work and she had to opt out last minute because it was getting way too stressful for her. And people sympathized with her for it. I didn't have a problem with it because at least it was better than the real version of things. However, on the day of my wedding, I decided to make a speech and I thanked everyone. And that's where the drama really began. As I have mentioned at the beginning of my post, I took great care to mention literally everyone, my parents, my bridesmaids, even the groomsmen and all the guests. I thanked all of them. And obviously my parents, my maid of honor, and the best man got a special mention. And then I started talking about my sister. But I was careful not to mention any names in the beginning. I kept it a little vague, but I made it clear that I was very thankful to this particular sister of mine. And everyone thought that I was talking about Emily. But in the end, I said that I was talking about Amy, and everyone was kind of taken aback. But I meant every word of it because Amy knew everything that had gone down. And I had confided in her about how disappointed I was in Emily, and she was very sympathetic. She comforted me and got me through all of it, and I really wouldn't have been able to do it without her. And I definitely do see her as a sister. This whole thing has brought us closer together. She and I have been together since we were kids. We've been the best of friends and we've been through thick and thin. So I think she deserved to be mentioned and thanked like that. And if that makes Emily feel bad, hard luck. Anyway, right now, basically, Emily, my parents, even my stepmom, are very upset with me because of that speech I made. They've been telling me that it was all very unnecessary, and everyone in the family is apparently gossiping about the fact that Emily did not get a mention in the speech at all. And they think that something is going on. And they're right. Something definitely is going on. Emily and I are not on good terms right now. And I don't care if anyone finds out about what really happened, because it's not like that's going to portray me in a bad light. It's going to make Emily look bad, and that's really not my responsibility. So I don't think I have to feel bad about the speech I made, especially because I meant everything I said. I wanted to thank Amy, so I did. So my question is, AITA for making a speech at my wedding and snubbing my sister during it? Update 1. Hey, so I've spoken to my parents and I've told them that I'm not going to apologize for anything that I said, because ultimately I meant what I said. I really am thankful that Amy was by my side. And yes, I did make the decision not to mention Emily in my speech, but I think I have my reasons for it, and they are pretty valid, as I said at the beginning of my post itself. All the comments I found on my post just validated everything I had already been thinking about. I'm not the bad guy here. If Emily decided to take money just so she could ditch me, and I decided to exclude her from my wedding speech, then it's probably pretty clear that what I did was much less of the two evils. At least I still tried to be cordial to her, and I invited her to the wedding, and yeah, maybe my pettiness got the better of me for a second. But even then, I don't think I needed to apologize to her and make it seem like I did something very bad, because I really did not. If everybody really thinks that I'm the one who owes her an apology, then they can keep that opinion to themselves, because it's not going to change anything for me. And I was very clear about that. And my parents decided to tell me that at the end of the day, it was my decision and they were not going to interfere or push me anymore. So since then, things have been a bit cold, but at least they realized they're not going to get anywhere arguing with me. So they decided not to push me further, but Emily could not handle it. When I told her that I was not going to apologize to her, so she needed to stop bothering me, she decided to take it further. She started texting me saying that I was very selfish and unkind person. And she said that she was very grateful that I had shown my true colors to her. And now she was going to have absolutely no guilt being the maid of honor at Lydia's wedding. She said I was clearly not deserving of her loyalty, because if this little incident could ruin everything for the two of us and the bond that we had for so many years, then it was probably not even worth it. I didn't reply to her because I did not find it worth replying to. I don't even know why she had so much to say if she didn't care about me anymore. But anyway, I blocked her because I'm really happy with my life and I'm done dealing with this kind of childishness. Update 2. Hey everybody, so my husband and I went off to our honeymoon a couple of days back and currently we're on vacation. But Emily has managed to get on my nerves even this time. I'm trying to relax so hard, but she's decided to make it impossible for me. My husband has obviously been very supportive of me throughout this whole thing, but today he was very annoyed. Not at me, but at Emily. So far, he's just been indifferent to her, but today he had an outburst on the phone. Apparently, because I blocked her, she decided to start texting my husband instead, trying to get him to talk to me and acknowledge what I had done. I don't know why this is so important for her, because through her texts, it seemed like she couldn't care less about not having a relationship with me anymore. However, the way she's behaving, it clearly shows that she's really affected by all of this and she wants me back in her life. If that's really the case, then why did she betray me in the first place? Why did she have to go out of her way and break my trust like that? I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, she had been texting my husband and he had just been ignoring her. And he didn't tell me anything about it because he knew I was already pretty upset about all of this. And I probably wouldn't want to hear it. And on top of that, we were also leaving for our honeymoon, so he did not want to ruin that. Unfortunately, earlier today, while we were outside, she decided to try calling him, and it was just a single attempt. When my husband did not pick up the phone, she started calling him repeatedly over and over again. And that's when he finally lost it, and he had been trying to hide the whole thing from me, so even I had begun to find it a bit weird. Anyway, after a while, he decided to finally take the call and explain everything right before he accepted the call. He told me about Emily's constant attempts to get back in touch with me through him. And I told him to accept the phone call, and then I said that I would speak to her and get her off my back because I felt embarrassed. But he told me that he would deal with all this himself, and then he picked up the phone, and I've literally never heard him talk to anybody like that, at least not in front of me. To say that he was upset and angry would be an understatement because he really went off on her. And I really hope that she takes a lesson from everything that was said. My husband told her that she had no right to constantly keep calling, especially when it was he who was getting bothered because he had already made it very clear that he was not going to put her in touch with me. Because that's not what I wanted, and she had to accept that. Because she had dug this hole for herself. She hadn't been very kind to me, so now I was perfectly well within my rights to not want to have any sort of contact with her. He also told her that she had been selfish, she had been egoistic, and now she was being plain unreasonable. And now she had to sort things out inside her own head and realize that she couldn't just ask for forgiveness and then get it immediately. She had to give things time. And if she couldn't even do that, then she should probably not even bother us anymore. He told her not to call him again, not to bother me either. So that was all that was said. And I was actually pretty happy because earlier I'd been pretty annoyed by the whole thing. However, the way that my husband told her off and got her off my back really cheered me up. I mean, obviously, I'm not the kind of woman who needs a man to stand up for her. But I appreciated it. I don't think that my parents like it as much, though, because they were very upset. About an hour ago, they reached out to me through a text and told me that they were very upset that my husband had spoken to Emily so rudely, and that when we came back home, we needed to sit down together as a family and sort all this out. And for whatever reason, they said that we were going to include Lydia and all of this as well, which is ridiculous because she's not my family. She's my dad's family for sure, but not mine. Anyway, before I could get into a fight with them on the phone, my husband reminded me that we were on our honeymoon and that we were supposed to be enjoying this time. And he was completely right, so I decided not to bother myself with all of this for now, and that I would deal with all of it when I got back home. We just have a couple of days more to go until we go back home, and I just hope that until then, my family can keep all their opinions and drama to themselves and respect the fact that I'm on my freaking honeymoon. If not, then I'm just not going to deal with any of this, even when I get back. I'm just going to cut them out of my life because honestly, I've had enough now, and I think my husband, in spite of how patient he is also beginning to get annoyed with my family and their behavior. Update 3. So, yesterday my husband and I finally returned. It was quite refreshing to spend the last few days of our honeymoon without any drama from my family. However, now it was finally time for everyone to face the music, because now we were back and we were going to deal with all of this. So today in the morning, I called up my parents and told them I was back in town, and I told them that they needed to show up in the evening with Emily so we could clear everything up. I think all of us had had enough of this, and so they showed up in the evening, but of course they couldn't do everything that I had asked them to, and they had to go and do their own thing as well. So they decided to show up with my stepmom and Lydia as well. I don't know why they were here, because they were not involved in any of this, not directly at least. Yeah, Lydia was the one who paid Emily to ditch me, but then it was Emily's choice to do that. It's not like she was under anybody's spell. She had free will and she decided that she wanted the money more than she wanted to be there for me on my wedding day, more than she wanted to live up to the promises that she had made to me. And that was her choice. So I don't like Lydia, but I don't blame her for that. Anyway, even though I had told my parents very specifically that I did not want Lydia there, they didn't care about that and they showed up with her anyway, and I was pretty annoyed. But then they were already there and I didn't want to add to the drama. I just wanted to get this whole thing over with. So even though I didn't like her, I invited her in and told her very directly that I did not think that their presence was necessary, but because I didn't want to be rude, I was still going to let them in. But all they had to do was keep quiet and let me speak while I was trying to make a point. My stepmom did not say anything, but Lydia made it a point to roll her eyes at me. After everyone was settled, that's when I finally started speaking, and I addressed everyone when I spoke and told them that there had been a lot of drama surrounding my wedding, and not just mine, but both mine and Lydia's, and now everyone was here to clear all of that up because it was quite embarrassing for our family to be behaving like this. Of course, Lydia was the first one to pipe up, even though I had told her very clearly that I didn't want to be speaking when I was trying to say something. But I cut her off because I was pretty annoyed and told her that I did not want her to be speaking while I was trying to say something. And I had made that very clear already. And if she couldn't respect that, then she should leave, because already we don't get along well. And I did not want to create more drama while we were trying to solve all the problems that had already come to exist because of all this. She got mad at that and she started telling me it was all my fault anyway, because I had copied all her timings and I was jealous of her and I was insecure. And that's why I was trying to steal her limelight. I just rolled my eyes at her and told her this was not the case at all. And if anything, she was the one copying, but I did not want to be petty, so I hadn't brought it up until now. However, since she was accusing me of everything that she herself was guilty of, I was not going to stay silent anymore, and I really ripped into her. I told her exactly what I thought of her, and I did not hold back at all, like I had been for so many years. Obviously, nobody liked that. And people started telling me I was the one who was being problematic here. And they said they had shown up here to solve things, but clearly, given the attitude I have, that was not going to happen. And it was not just Lydia and her mom who was saying stuff like this. My own parents, Emily, literally all of them had ganged up on me. All of them were on one side, accusing me of being problematic, saying that I was selfish and didn't think of anybody apart from myself. They accused me of picking fights with them for no reason, of creating drama out of nothing, and of being petty. Honestly, I almost cried, but then my husband told them that I had given them a fair chance to make a point and to sort everything out. But if they were going to hang up on me and try to make me the bad guy here for no reason, then it was clear they did not deserve the chance that I was trying to give them. Because he could see that I was almost on the verge of tears. He started telling them to get out of the house because clearly this was not going to work if they were only here to gang up on me and make me feel bad for no fault of my own. He had let me speak for myself, but when they all started attacking me together, he got involved, and they did not like that. Because obviously they could not stand the fact that he was defending me. They wanted to be able to control the narrative. They wanted to be able to control me, and because he was not going to allow them to do that, they started telling him he was not part of the family, which is bold, because neither is my stepmom and nor is Lydia. They started telling him that they did not care what he had to say, but then he said he was going to call the cops if they did not get out of the house. And that's when they finally decided to take him seriously. So anyway, eventually they left and I finally broke down. But thankfully, my husband was there for me. He supported me and he calmed me down, and that was the only source of comfort I had. I finally got to see the true colors of my family, and it hurt, of course. But whatever, I'm not going to let that bring me down. I have my husband by my side, and that's all that matters. Update 4. So Lydia got married a couple of days back, and my social media has been flooded with pictures of her wedding, and my family seems to be having a heck of a time there. For whatever reason, even my mother ended up attending. I guess it was a good opportunity for all of them to bond over how much they hate me. Good for them, I guess. At the end of the day, I'm much happier than them because at least I'm not constantly surrounded by toxic people. Like I said in my previous update, my husband is there for me, and my in-laws are extremely kind to me. I'm blessed to have a family like this, and I don't really care what anybody else thinks of me anymore. Stay tuned for more stories from our girl relationships.